My name's Monica, and I'm 60 years old, and I have Ménière's. Arriving to this point was pretty difficult. My journey started about 14 years ago when I was at home, and I felt like I was having a heart attack or something. I had this drop sensation and lost all sense of balance. My world was spinning and I didn't know what was happening. It was pretty horrific. And dropped to the floor, nausea, vomiting, and scared, completely scared. I didn't know what was happening. And I couldn't move or do any actions without the whole world spinning around. So at one point, once it sort of settled down to a certain point, I was able to have my daughter drive me to my physician, and he just said it's just vertigo. You'll be off work a couple of weeks and it should settle down. It didn't settle down. I was totally incapacitated. I couldn't even lie in bed without the whole room spinning around. I had to sit in a chair and keep my head perfectly still, and that's how I slept, and that's how I functioned for approximately about a good week or so of that acute feeling, and then it sort of progressed where I could be a little bit more mobile, but the vertigo was still there, and inability to lie down, and so my chair became my world, and my daughter had to do everything for me. Kept going to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed Circ, and that had no effect whatsoever. And gradually over time it sort of settled down, and after about 3 months I was at the point where I didn't work for 3 months for the first acute attack, and went back to work, and everything seemed to be okay. There wasn't any incidents, but I had sensitivities, turning my head quickly, any sudden movement peripherally. Couldn't look up without feeling dizzy, but it wasn't anything like the first original acute attack. And that sort of subsided for the next 4 years, and then I had another attack. It wasn't quite so severe, but enough that I had to stay off work because I was completely dizzy. I remember it happened on a walk. I was walking with my husband, and I felt this drop feeling sensation where it almost feels like you just lose power, and then the world starts spinning around, and I couldn't walk. My husband had to go back and get the car to put me in the car and take me back home. So that episode lasted for 4 months this time, and again, same doctor said, oh, it's vertigo, and he sent me to an ENT specialist. He checked certain things I did, had a x-ray, my head, and didn't show anything, and again, gradually over time, after about a 4-month period, that settled down again, and it was approximately about another 5 years. It was a nice long span between that, where one morning I went to get up from the couch, and it felt like someone had taken my head and jerked it back and forth, and I fell to the ground again. The dizziness, everything, it was back again, but much worse. And this one happened in May of 2010, and I haven't had such acute head jerking motions, but I've had ongoing fluctuations of dizziness, nausea, my eyes, nystagmus I think it's called, feel full ears all the time, and tinnitus. When it gets acute, then I feel it more in the right, but it's in both. at that point, I went back to, I had a different doctor, and this different doctor had a different type of approach. He first sent me to a neurologist who dealt with migraine specifically, because I also had a history of aura-related migraine headaches through my menopause, and he thought perhaps it might be vertigo-related with migraines. So he sent me to the specific neurologist, and this neurologist did some testing, and he felt that it wasn't a migraine-related issue, that it was more combined with BPPV and possibly Ménière's. So he sent me to a colleague of his, another neurologist who actually heads up the Balance Disorder Clinic at Toronto General Hospital, Dr. Paul Rinaldi. While waiting for that, I was desperate to find some sort of relief for the terrible dizziness, you know, getting out of bed and head and the world spinning like crazy, not being able to function, walk the dog, do virtually anything that I normally could. I couldn't work. I hadn't been working since the onset of this acute attack, since May of 2010, and so I was desperate to find something to help me. So I went to a chiropractor, tried that treatment. It wasn't successful. I did some acupuncture through a Chinese doctor who swore that he could help me, and nice man, but there was no help. Met with Christy about a year ago and started treatment with Christy, and at first it seemed to get worse. I felt my symptoms were a lot worse, and I was at a point where I was considering not going anymore, because I was concerned that I'd get back to where I originally started, and it frightened me. At this point, I had enough. And different triggers that would come, I would always be worried that it would start again. And that fear of it, the onset of the symptoms were really difficult and dramatic. So I thought, but my mindset was that I'm having some reactions, so obviously it was doing something. So I had to view it as hopeful, more hopeful than any other treatments. So I kept up with it and persevered, and I noticed a difference, a change. I noticed, first of all, the ears and the pressure in my ears was subsiding. It wasn't as strong, and the tinnitus wasn't as strong as well. So we increased the treatment, and over time I felt my symptoms subside. And especially when spring came up, spring used to be the worst time, when my allergies would surface, and this particular spring, especially 2012, I was virtually symptom-free. I know that this treatment has a very great effect on how I feel, and it's a blessing. And I can't say how that feels. It's almost like a miracle. I'm sort of in a panic that if anything ever happened and I wouldn't be able to get this treatment, I don't know what I'd do, because I know that this is the only thing that has helped me so far. And it's been very worthwhile.